The silver ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, leaving a trail of glowing blue light behind it. People all over the world watched their screens as the first confirmed alien visitors approached. Captain Olivia Wright stood straight and tall on the landing pad, trying to hide her nervousness. As the leader of Earth's welcome team, she knew the importance of this moment. 5 minutes until touchdown, said Lieutenant Adam Garcia, checking his tablet. All security measures are in place. Olivia nodded. Let's hope we don't need them. The ship was unlike anything humans had built. It moved with impossible grace, settling onto the landing pad without making a sound. For several moments, nothing happened. Then a door opened in the side of the ship and the aliens emerged. The Xerelians were tall and thin with smooth blue-gray skin. They had 4 arms and walked with careful steps, as if the ground might break beneath them. Their leader wore a complex silver suit with glowing parts. Ambassador Crixus, Olivia said, stepping forward. Welcome to Earth, I am Captain Olivia Wright of the United Earth Defense Force. The alien's large eyes blinked slowly. Captain Wright. How interesting to finally meet a human in person. His voice had an odd musical quality. Dr. Samantha Powell stood beside Olivia, her scientific equipment ready to gather data. She noticed immediately how the aliens seemed to struggle with Earth's gravity, their movements slightly strained. The formal meeting took place in the Global Unity Center in Geneva. Representatives from all Earth nations gathered in the Grand Hall. Olivia led the Xerelian delegation to their seats, noticing how they looked around with what seemed like amusement. Your architecture is quite primitive, Ambassador Crixus said, not bothering to lower his voice. But charming in its way. Olivia maintained her professional smile. Our building methods have served us well through earthquakes, storms, and changing climates. This comment made several of the aliens exchange looks. One of them made a sound that their translators didn't catch, but it was clearly laughter. The head of the Global Unity Council, Director Ben Mason, gave a welcoming speech. He spoke of friendship between worlds and the sharing of knowledge. When he mentioned Earth's hope to someday join the galactic community as equals, more alien laughter followed. Ambassador Crixus stood to respond. We thank the people of Earth for their welcome. Your single planet has produced a surprisingly resilient species, despite your limited resources and experience. The Xerelian Alliance spans 27 worlds across 12 star systems. We look forward to helping your undeveloping civilization. The way he said it made it sound like they were talking to children. During the reception that followed, Lieutenant Garcia overheard 2 Xerelians talking near the buffet table. They don't even realize what a death trap they live on, one said. Their planet is constantly trying to kill them. Single-planet species rarely advance much further, the other replied. They'll never survive the challenges of true space colonization. Garcia shared this with Dr. Powell, who was already analyzing data from her instruments. They seem physically uncomfortable here, she whispered. Their heart rates are elevated, and they're using more oxygen than expected. Later that evening, the Xerelians proposed a friendship agreement that would allow them to establish bases on Earth and its moon. In exchange, they offered what they called basic technological assistance. Captain Wright reviewed the terms with her team. They're asking for access to our mineral resources, our oceans, and rights to study our core, she said, but offering very little in return. They don't respect us, Garcia said. Dr. Powell looked up from her data. They evolved on a much smaller world with less gravity and minimal geological activity. Earth must seem incredibly violent to them, yet they're acting superior. Olivia closed the document. Then we need to help them understand what Earth really is, and what it's made us capable of. None of them realized yet just how much the aliens had underestimated both the planet and the humans who called it home. 3 months passed since the Xerelians arrived. Their ships now orbited Earth, and their delegates met daily with human leaders. But with each passing day, their true feelings became clearer. The aliens did not see humans as equals. Commander Ryan Ellis worked in the monitoring station beneath the Global Unity Center. His job was to track the aliens' activities. On this day, his screen showed something concerning. "Captain Wright, you need to see this," he said over the secure line. Olivia arrived quickly. "What did you find?" Ryan pointed to his screen. "They're scanning our planet's core. Deep scans of the tectonic plates, too. They've been doing it for weeks without telling us." Olivia frowned. "Inform Dr. Powell. I want to know what they're looking for." In her lab, Dr. Samantha Powell studied the biological data from the Zorellians. The results surprised her. She was still reviewing them when Olivia and Ryan arrived. "The Zorellians evolved on a small, stable planet," she explained. "Their homeworld has almost no tectonic movement, minimal weather patterns, and predictable seasons. It's practically unchanged for millions of years." "So Earth must seem wild to them," Olivia said. "Exactly. Their physiology shows it. Their bones are lighter, their muscles less dense. They've never needed to adapt to changing conditions." Later that day, during a meeting about natural disaster response, Ambassador Crixus and his team openly laughed when humans described surviving hurricanes, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. "You actually live with these dangers?" one alien asked. "Why not simply move to safer regions?" "There are no perfectly safe regions on Earth," responded Ben Mason. "We've learned to predict, prepare, and adapt. It's one of humanity's strengths." This comment brought more alien laughter. After the meeting, Agent Natalie Foster was checking security recordings when she caught a private conversation between the aliens. She immediately called Captain Wright. "You need to hear this," she said, playing the recording. "These humans are so proud of their little adaptations," Ambassador Crixus's voice said clearly. "They don't understand how primitive Earth really is. A single planet with dangerous weather and unstable ground. Quaint, really." Another alien voice responded. "The High Command will be pleased. Once we establish our bases, extracting this world's resources will be simple. The humans will be grateful for our help managing their unstable environment." Olivia's face hardened. "Get the Defense Council together. Now." That evening, Captain Wright confronted Ambassador Crixus in a private meeting room. "We know you've been scanning our planet's core without permission," she said. "We also know you've been hiding your true intentions." The ambassador's smooth face showed surprise, then quickly shifted to a cold smile. "Captain Wright, you misunderstand. We are simply gathering data to help your species. Earth is dangerously unstable compared to developed worlds." "Is that why you plan to extract our resources and establish control?" Olivia asked. Crixus didn't deny it. "It would be for your own good. Single-planet species rarely survive long-term. Your world is too unpredictable, too violent. We could help manage these risks while using resources you can't even access." "You see our planet as primitive because it's active and changing," Olivia said. "But that's exactly what made us strong." The ambassador's expression showed pity. "Strong? You hide in your little shelters when storms come. You rebuild after your ground shakes. We outgrew such primitive conditions millennia ago. Yet you struggle just to walk in our gravity," Olivia pointed out. The ambassador waved a hand dismissively. "Minor discomforts, easily managed with technology. Your species would be better off as a protected colony under our guidance." Before Olivia could respond, the room began to shake. Picture frames rattled against the walls. The light fixtures swung. A glass of water tipped over on the table. "What's happening?" Crixus asked, genuine fear in his voice. "Earthquake," Olivia said, calmly. "Magnitude 7.2, I'd guess." The shaking grew stronger. The ambassador fell from his chair and scrambled under the table, all four arms wrapped around himself protectively. "Make it stop," he shouted. Olivia remained standing, bracing herself in the doorway as she'd learned to do since childhood. "We can't make it stop," she said. "That's exactly the point you've been missing." The earthquake lasted only 45 seconds, but it changed everything. When the shaking stopped, Ambassador Crixus remained under the table, all four arms still wrapped around his body. His blue-gray skin had turned pale. "Is it over?" he asked, his musical voice now shaking. "For now," Olivia said, stepping away from the doorway. "Aftershocks might come later." "Aftershocks?" The ambassador's large eyes widened further. Alarms sounded throughout the building. Lieutenant Adam Garcia burst into the room. Captain, part of the East Wing has collapsed. 4 Zarelian delegates are trapped inside. Crixus climbed out from under the table on shaky legs. My people, we must get them to our ship immediately. First, we need to rescue them, Olivia said calmly. Lieutenant, assemble the emergency team. Already done, Captain. We're ready to move in. Adam led a team of 10 humans into the damaged section of the building. The Zarelians watched in amazement as the humans quickly organized, moving through dust and debris without hesitation. The aliens seemed paralyzed by fear. Your people do this regularly? Asked a Zarelian science officer, watching Adam crawl under a fallen beam. We train for it, Olivia explained. Earth has taught us to be ready for anything. Within an hour, all 4 trapped aliens were rescued. They had minor injuries but were mostly suffering from shock. They couldn't understand how the ground itself could move. This never happens on developed worlds, Ambassador Crixus said, his voice still unsteady. We must return to our ship immediately. That wouldn't be wise, Dr. Powell said, entering the room with her tablet. The earthquake has triggered several landslides in the area. The safest place right now is inside our reinforced structures. You built your structures to withstand this violence? A Zarelian engineer asked, sounding genuinely curious for the first time. Of course, Dr. Powell replied. We've been designing for earthquakes for centuries. Later that evening, Olivia met with Dr. Henry Blackwell, Earth's leading geological expert. His gray beard couldn't hide his smile. Captain, you should have seen their faces when I showed them our tectonic map, he said. They couldn't believe a species would evolve on a planet with such active geology. What did you tell them? I explained that Earth's tectonic activity is actually rare and valuable. It recycles minerals, creates diverse landscapes, and even helps regulate our climate. Without it, Earth might be as dead as Mars. Olivia nodded. They see it as a flaw because they never experienced it, Henry said. Their worlds are stable, but limited. Earth's changeability is what makes it special. The next morning, Commander Ryan Ellis showed Olivia new data from the Zarelian ship. They're running constant simulations of Earth's tectonic activity, he said, and they've sent urgent messages to their fleet. I think they're scared. Good, Olivia said. Fear can lead to respect. She met with her team to plan their next steps. Agent Foster reported that the aliens had stopped their secret scans. They're focusing on defensive measures now, Natalie said. They seem genuinely concerned about Earth's unpredictability. Lieutenant Garcia had been working with the Zarelian engineers. They keep asking about our building methods. They can't understand how we live with constant uncertainty. Dr. Powell looked up from her data. I've completed my analysis. The Zarelians evolved on a planet that's barely alive geologically. They never developed the ability to adapt to sudden changes. While Earth has forced us to adapt or die, Olivia said. Exactly, Samantha replied. Earth isn't just our home, it's our teacher. And it taught us lessons the Zarelians never learned. Olivia looked out the window at the mountains in the distance, formed by the very forces the aliens feared. Then it's time we show them what those lessons have made us capable of. Outside, dark clouds gathered on the horizon. A storm was coming. And for once, it wasn't Earth's weather that worried Olivia. It was the Zarelian fleet that would soon arrive, not understanding what they were truly facing. A species forged by the most challenging planet in their known galaxy. 2 days after the earthquake, the sky turned strange. People looked up to see rippling green lights even during daytime. Commander Ryan Ellis rushed into the meeting room where Captain Wright was briefing her team. We have a problem, he said. A massive solar flare is headed toward Earth. It's going to hit our magnetosphere in less than an hour. Olivia nodded calmly. Standard procedures, everyone. Move critical systems to hardened shelters and prepare for communications disruption. The Zarelian delegates watched this activity with growing concern. What is happening? Ambassador Crixus demanded. Our sun is releasing a burst of energy toward Earth, Dr. Powell explained. It happens regularly. Our planet's magnetic field protects us, but it will cause some disruption. Your star attacks your planet? A Zarelian scientist looked horrified. Before anyone could respond, the lights flickered. Computer screens went dark, then came back on backup power. Outside, the sky continued to glow with unusual colors. Suddenly, urgent messages came from the monitoring station. The Zarelian ship in orbit was having critical systems failures. Their shields couldn't handle the solar radiation that Earth's magnetosphere normally absorbed. Their ship is in trouble, Ryan reported. Their life support systems are failing. We need to help them, Olivia said without hesitation. Commander Ellis quickly organized a space rescue mission. 3 Earth shuttles launched toward the struggling alien ship. The human pilots navigated through the solar storm with practiced skill, their vessels designed to handle such conditions. On the ground, Dr. Powell and Lieutenant Garcia moved the remaining alien delegation to a secure facility deep in the mountains of Colorado. "Why are we going underground?" a Zarelian medical officer asked nervously. "Double protection," Adam explained, "from both the solar flare and the hurricane that's approaching the coast." "Hurricane?" The alien's voice rose in pitch. "Another disaster? How many ways can your planet try to kill you in 1 week?" Samantha smiled slightly. "Earth keeps us on our toes." In the secure facility, large screens showed weather maps. A massive hurricane was moving up the eastern seaboard, its swirling form covering hundreds of miles. Category 5, Dr. Powell noted, wind speeds over 175 miles per hour. The aliens gathered around the screens, their faces showing a mixture of horror and fascination. "Your people in those regions, they will all die?" one asked. "No," Adam said. "We've been dealing with hurricanes for centuries. We have early warning systems, evacuation plans, storm shelters, and emergency response teams. There will be damage, but most people will be safe." "How can you live this way?" Ambassador Crixus asked. "Constantly threatened by your own planet?" "We don't see it as a threat," Olivia replied, entering the room after coordinating the space rescue. "We see it as a challenge. Each disaster taught us to be stronger, to plan better, to work together." The screens showed coastal cities with storm barriers deploying, people moving calmly to higher ground, and emergency workers preparing supplies. "Your species faces regular extinction-level events, yet you speak of them as learning opportunities." The ambassador's tone mixed disbelief with growing respect. "Earth isn't trying to kill us," Olivia explained. "It's just alive, active, and changing. And that activity made us who we are." Reports came in from orbit. Commander Ellis and his team had successfully reached the Zarelian ship. They were transferring the alien crew to Earth shuttles, which were designed to handle solar storms. "Your ships are so primitive-looking," Ambassador Crixus said, watching the rescue. "Yet they function in conditions our advanced vessels cannot survive." "Because we built them knowing what they would face," Olivia said. "Earth taught us to expect the unexpected." As the hurricane made landfall, the aliens watched in silence as humans across the affected region activated their well-practiced emergency plans. Despite the storm's fury, organized response teams were already moving into position. "Our world has 3 small moons and stable weather patterns," a Zarelian scientist said quietly. "We never needed to adapt to such chaos." "Then you never got the chance to become as strong as we are," Adam replied. Outside, the storm raged. But inside, something was changing in the way the aliens looked at their human hosts. For the first time, it wasn't pity or amusement in their eyes. It was wonder. 1 week after the hurricane, the early warning systems detected multiple ships entering Earth's solar system. The Zarelian reinforcement fleet had arrived, much larger than expected. 20 warships positioned themselves in orbit around Earth. "They're here to show force tomorrow," Commander Ellis said, watching the tactical display. "Standard intimidation formation." Captain Wright nodded. "Let them think it's working." A message came from the lead ship. The Zarelian High Command demanded the immediate return of their delegation and threatened consequences if humans did not comply. Ambassador Crixus seemed uncomfortable when he heard the message. "Our military leaders don't understand Earth yet," he said quietly to Olivia. "They still think you're a simple primitive species. Then perhaps it's time for another demonstration," she replied. General Laura Bennett arrived from the United Earth Defense Force headquarters. She was a tall woman with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. She studied the alien fleet, positions, and smiled slightly. They've arranged themselves for maximum visual impact, she noted, not for actual tactical advantage. Interesting. The next day, Earth's representatives met with the newly arrived Zorellian military leaders. The aliens were even taller than the diplomats, with armored suits and stern expressions. "Your planet has endangered our delegation," said Fleet Commander Vorex. "Our scans show constant geological instability, dangerous radiation, and extreme weather patterns. We demand their immediate return." General Bennett stepped forward. "Before you make demands, perhaps you'd like to observe a demonstration of our defensive capabilities?" The Zorellians laughed, that same dismissive sound humans had grown accustomed to hearing. "We've already scanned your primitive defense systems," Vorex said. "Your technology is at least a century behind ours." "Not all of it," Laura replied calmly. With a nod from Captain Wright, Commander Ellis activated a hidden command console. Suddenly, across the globe, concealed defense platforms emerged from underground bunkers, mountain hideaways, and underwater bases. Satellite images showed hundreds of installations that the Zorellian scans had completely missed. "Impossible," a Zorellian weapons officer whispered. "Our scans were comprehensive." "Earth taught us to hide," General Bennett explained. "To adapt, to prepare for threats we cannot predict, including how to shield our technology from detection." Fleet Commander Vorex tried to hide his surprise. "These defenses are still no match for our fleet." "We don't need to match your fleet," Captain Wright said. "We just need to survive. That's what we do best." Olivia invited the aliens to observe a military exercise in the Mojave Desert. The Zorellians agreed, still confident in their superiority. What they witnessed shocked them. Human soldiers trained in conditions that seemed impossible to the aliens. They marched through scorching daytime heat that reached 110 degrees, then adapted to freezing nighttime temperatures. They built shelters from minimal materials. They found water in seemingly barren ground. "Your soldiers willingly endure these conditions?" a Zorellian officer asked Lieutenant Garcia, who was guiding the observation. "This is mild compared to some of our training environments," Adam replied. "We also train in Arctic conditions, rainforests, high mountains, and deep underwater." "But why? Why not simply use technology to avoid such extremes?" "Because technology can fail. Humans need to be ready to survive with or without it." A Zorellian science officer pulled Ambassador Crixus aside. Adam overheard their conversation. "These conditions would kill our species in hours without protective gear," the scientist said quietly. "Yet the humans seem barely affected." "I've been studying them," Crixus replied. "Their planet has forced them to adapt to conditions that would be extinction-level events on our worlds. They don't just survive here, they thrive." Later, Dr. Powell showed the visitors data on human biological adaptability. She explained how humans could survive at altitude ranges from below sea level to over 16,000 feet, in temperatures from 50 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. "Your species evolved to handle such variation?" A Zorellian medical officer seemed stunned. "We had to," Samantha said simply. "Earth gave us no choice." That evening, Fleet Commander Vorex met privately with his officers. Their earlier confidence was gone. Captain Wright received reports that the alien fleet had moved from attack formation to a more defensive posture. Earth wasn't just teaching humans its lessons anymore. Now the aliens were learning too. 2 days after the military demonstration, Dr. Samantha Powell invited the Zorellian delegation to her research facility. The room was filled with screens showing data about human biology. The aliens moved cautiously, still uncomfortable with Earth's gravity. "Today I want to show you something about humans that goes beyond our technology," Samantha said. "I want to show you how Earth shaped our bodies." She displayed images of human cells alongside Zorellian cells. The differences were clear even to non-scientists. "Human cells have multiple defense mechanisms that yours lack," she explained. "Our immune systems fight off thousands of pathogens daily. Our skin repairs itself constantly. Our bones rebuild themselves when broken. Fleet Commander. Vorex studied the images with growing concern. These adaptations are unusual? Very unusual, according to your own medical database, Samantha replied. Your species evolved on a world with few pathogens and little environmental variation. Ambassador Crixus nodded slowly. We have always been proud of our world's stability. We never realized it was actually limiting us. Captain Wright arranged for the visitors to experience different Earth environments firsthand. Under careful supervision, small groups of Zorellians were taken to see rainforests, deserts, mountains, and coastlines. One group returned early from the Amazon rainforest. Their medical officer reported that 3 aliens had fallen ill just from brief exposure to the humid air and diverse microbes. How do humans live in such places, he asked, administering medicine to his sick companions. The biological diversity is overwhelming. Lieutenant Garcia, who had guided that group, shrugged. Our bodies handle it. We've evolved alongside those microbes for thousands of years. Later that day, Dr. Kevin Mitchell joined the discussions. He was an evolutionary biologist with wild curly hair and excited eyes. The key thing to understand, he told the aliens, is that humans didn't just adapt to one environment on Earth. We adapted to hundreds of them, then shared those adaptations through our DNA as we moved and mixed throughout history. He showed them human population maps spanning thousands of years. My ancestors lived in cold northern regions and developed certain traits. Captain Wright's ancestors came from island communities with different challenges. Lieutenant Garcia's people mastered desert survival. Together, we became stronger than any single adaptation would allow. The Zorellian medical officer was particularly interested. Our species evolved in a single environment with minimal variation. Our DNA is almost identical across our entire population. Which made you vulnerable, Kevin said gently. Without diverse challenges, you never developed diverse solutions. Captain Wright noticed the aliens having intense private discussions after these revelations. Commander Ellis reported that their surveillance operations had completely stopped. Instead, their ships were conducting detailed studies of Earth's biosphere. That evening, a Zorellian science vessel requested permission to take atmospheric samples from different regions. Olivia approved, but sent Samantha to oversee their work. At 2, the Arctic sampling site, the Zorellian scientists struggled with the equipment in the cold. How can humans function in this temperature? She asked, her 4 hands shaking despite her thermal suit. We've developed biological and technological adaptations, Samantha explained. Working comfortably in a much lighter suit, our bodies increase metabolism in cold conditions. Our technology is designed for temperature extremes. On our worlds, we change the environment to suit our needs, the scientist said. We've never needed to change ourselves. That's the fundamental difference, Samantha realized. Earth changed us. We couldn't change Earth. When they returned to the facility, they found Ambassador Crixus engaged in a serious conversation with Fleet Commander Vorex. The military leader's earlier arrogance was gone. We've been analyzing your world's biological diversity, Vorex said when he saw Captain Wright. It exceeds that of all our 27 worlds combined. Earth is alive in ways your worlds aren't, Olivia replied. It's constantly changing, forcing everything on it to adapt or die. And humans adapted better than any species we've encountered, Crixus added. We've been wrong about you. Dangerously wrong. For the first time, the aliens were truly seeing what Earth had created in its human inhabitants. And they were afraid. The next morning, Ambassador Crixus requested an emergency meeting with Earth's Leadership Council. The atmosphere had changed completely from their first meetings. No more dismissive glances or barely hidden smirks. The aliens now watched humans with careful attention. We have been reviewing all our data on human civilization, Crixus began. There is something we don't understand. How did one planet produce so many different cultures, languages, and approaches to problem solving? Dr. Allison Parker was invited to answer this question. She was a cultural anthropologist with bright eyes and a gentle voice that somehow commanded attention. Earth's geography separated early humans into distinct groups, she explained. Mountains, oceans, deserts, and forests created natural barriers. Each isolated group faced different challenges and developed different solutions. She showed maps of ancient human civilizations. These different cultures created thousands of languages, belief systems, artistic traditions, and technologies, all on one planet. But wouldn't this cause endless conflict? Fleet Commander Vorex asked. Our species developed a single unified culture to avoid such division. Oh, we had plenty of conflict, Allison smiled. But we also had exchange, trade, and learning. When cultures met and shared ideas, innovation exploded. Lieutenant Garcia joined the discussion. Our military strategies come from this diversity. We study ancient Roman formations, Mongolian cavalry tactics, Native American guerrilla approaches, and Japanese martial arts, all to create modern defense systems. The aliens exchanged troubled looks. A Zarelian cultural attaché spoke up. Our military uses the same basic strategies developed 10,000 years ago, with technological improvements but the same underlying principles. That's the difference, Olivia said. Earth never let us settle on one solution. It kept changing the problems, forcing us to adapt not just physically, but mentally and culturally too. That afternoon, Captain Wright arranged a special demonstration. She took the aliens to a large hall where humans from dozens of cultures presented their art, music, food, and stories. The variety overwhelmed the visitors. All these different approaches exist simultaneously? Ambassador Crixus asked, watching a group perform a traditional dance while another nearby created electronic music. We see our diversity as strength, Olivia explained. Each culture offers different perspectives, different ways to solve problems. A Zarelian science officer studied a display showing human languages. You have over 7,000 distinct languages on one planet. We have only one language across all 27 worlds. And how often do you discover truly new ideas? Allison asked gently. The alien considered this question longer than expected. Rarely, he finally admitted. Our technological progress has slowed considerably in recent centuries. Later that evening, the aliens watched groups of humans working together on emergency response simulations. People from different countries, speaking different languages, seamlessly coordinated their efforts. How can they cooperate so effectively when they're so different from each other? Fleet Commander Vorex asked. Because of our differences, not despite them, Lieutenant Garcia explained. Someone always has a new approach to try when the standard one fails. Ambassador Crixus pulled Captain Wright aside. I must tell you something important. The Zarelian High Command has been monitoring our communications. They're concerned by what we've reported. Concerned about what? Olivia asked. Your potential, Crixus said simply. Your adaptability, your diversity, your constant innovation. For millennia, we believed a stable, unified approach was superior. Earth proves otherwise. Is that why your fleet has moved into defensive positions? Olivia asked. The ambassador's large eyes showed surprise. You noticed? Yes. Some of our military leaders see humanity as a potential threat now, rather than a primitive species to be guided. We don't want conflict, Olivia assured him. Nor do I, Crixus replied. But our leaders don't understand Earth as I now do. They see only the danger in a species forged by such a challenging world. Commander Ellis quietly informed Captain Wright that a new larger alien ship had entered Earth's orbit. The Zarelian admiral himself had arrived to assess the situation. It seems we made quite an impression, Olivia said. The ambassador looked worried. Earth has done more than impress us, Captain. It has frightened us, and I'm not sure which response is more dangerous. Admiral Zorvis of the Zarelian Alliance was tall even by alien standards. His skin had a deeper blue tone than the other. Aliens and all four of his arms bore ceremonial scars from ancient battles. He did not smile when he met with Earth's representatives. I have come to evaluate this situation personally, he said, his voice deeper than the other Zarelians. Reports from my fleet suggest humans possess unusual capabilities. Captain, Wright stood confidently beside General Bennett and the rest of the Earth delegation. We would be happy to answer any questions you have, Admiral. First, explain this. The Admiral displayed a holographic image of Earth, highlighting its active volcanoes, fault lines, storm systems, and radiation belts. Why would an intelligent, Species remain on such a dangerous world when technology allows for colonization of safer planets? Olivia looked at her team, then back to the Admiral. Because Earth isn't just where we live. It's who we are. For the next 3 hours, the humans presented a comprehensive demonstration of what Earth truly was. Dr. Powell explained how the planet's magnetic field protected life while forcing it to adapt to radiation. Dr. Mitchell showed how Earth's biodiversity created the most complex immune systems in known space. Lieutenant Garcia demonstrated how geological instability led to resourcefulness and quick thinking. The Admiral listened without interruption. His expression remained unreadable. Finally, Dr. Powell revealed her most significant finding. According to your own galactic classification system, Earth qualifies as a Class 9 death world, a planet that should be too hostile to evolve intelligent life. For the first time, Admiral Zorvis showed surprise. That is impossible. No sentient species has ever evolved on a Class 9 world. Earth did more than let us evolve, Olivia said. It forced us to become something unique. We aren't just a single-planet species, Admiral. We're a species forged by the most challenging teacher in this part of the galaxy. A crucible, the Admiral said quietly. Exactly, Olivia nodded. Every earthquake, every storm, every climate shift, every disease, they all taught us to adapt, to innovate, to overcome. The Admiral turned to Ambassador Crixus. Is this why you advised against colonization? Yes, Admiral, Crixus replied. I have lived among them. I have seen Earth's power and what it created. These humans are not primitive. They're simply different from us, shaped by forces our worlds never exposed us to. Admiral Zorvis stood in silence for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He bowed slightly to Captain Wright. I understand now, he said. When we detected your radio signals, we thought we found a young, vulnerable species. We were wrong. We found survivors, warriors, created by a world that never allowed for weakness. The room fell silent. Even the Zorelian officers seemed surprised by their Admiral's words. What happens now? General Bennett asked. Admiral Zorvis straightened. I will recommend a genuine alliance to the High Command. Not the false one we initially planned, but a true exchange. Your adaptability and resilience for our technology. You're not afraid of us anymore? Olivia asked directly. Fear is not the right word, the Admiral replied. Respect is more accurate. Your single planet has created strengths our 27 worlds never could. In the weeks that followed, the first true human-Zorelian joint projects began. Lieutenant Garcia worked with the Zorelian science officer to plan an expedition to explore genuinely dangerous worlds that neither species could visit alone. Ambassador Crixus remained on Earth, requesting permission to study human adaptation mechanisms further. His reports to the Zorelian homeworld changed how they viewed planetary development across their alliance. On her last day as Earth's representative before a well-earned vacation, Captain Olivia Wright stood on a beach watching a storm roll in across the ocean. The power in those clouds once seemed normal to her. Now, seeing it through alien eyes, she recognized just how extraordinary her home truly was. Admiral Zorvis joined her, watching the storm with careful respect. They laughed at our single planet, Olivia said, raising her voice above the wind. No, one is laughing now, the Admiral replied. They're learning, as we all should have done from the beginning. Above them, lightning cracked across the sky, illuminating the world that had created humanity. Not just a planet, but a forge of strength that the stars themselves would come to respect.